Hi, it's William here with Common Motor, that's common-motor.com. And as you can see, the front end on our long haul 450 project is completely apart. I did that to do mainly four things: replace the steering bearings, rebuild the forks, rebuild the brake system, and change the tire. Most of those we have a video on already, a dedicated video which we will have a link to in the description. So the first thing is going to be doing the steering bearings, so let me get at it. Alright, we got both legs taken apart and cleaned thoroughly. I'm about to go ahead and put them both back together and fill them up with oil. There we go. Forks back together. I'm going to put these dust boots on them and throw them back on the bike. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the forks installed back on the bike. This is one of those important areas where you should really make sure to set these bolts here on either side of the fork, as well as these bolts up here on the triple tree. Set them to their proper torque values, because we see people cracking their triple tree all the time. And these ones down here on the bottom fork bridge are really pretty important. They hold the forks in place, so you want to make sure that they're tightened to their spec. You can probably tell that I've foregone these little headlight brackets and fork gaiters for the basic kind of dust seal here and nothing up here. I do that mostly because those things tend to accumulate water and trap moisture. You can see here on the top of the fork tubes there's some pitting and corrosion and everything, so I'm just going to leave this all apart and deal with how to mount the headlight later. For now, I'm going to get into the brake components. So here we go. All our brake components are apart. We've got our caliper body, all the bits that came out, the old lines, master cylinder body, and all the bits that came out. With both of these, all the parts on the left are the parts that we're going to replace altogether, and all the parts on the right are the pieces that we're going to clean up and reuse. There we go. Got all the pieces back together. Master cylinder here, all reassembled with the kit. Got the brake caliper as well with a new easy bleeder screw in it. Can I go ahead and clean up the brackets, get it put back on the bike, and we can go on from there. Okay, got the caliper back on the fork. As you can see, it mounts to this common bracket that mounts where the fender mounts to the fork legs. So I just went ahead and put the fender back on, as well as the caliper. So next step on the brakes would be to hook up a line here up to our junction block and on up to the master cylinder. So as you can see, we've got the front wheel back on the bike with a fresh tire on it. A couple of things to note in doing this, make sure that when you get your tack drive hooked back up, it's in the proper orientation. There's two little tabs that line up with two little recesses on the hub, and they need to be lined up or else the whole thing's going to bind when you put it together. It's just not going to be good. Clearly someone had not lined it up properly before because the little recesses in the hub were all kind of gnarred up and I needed to file them down. So that's an important thing to notice. Also, when you're torquing down the nuts here at the bottom of the fork on these little holders that keep the axle in place, make sure you torque those to spec. It's about 16, 18 foot-pounds, I believe. Those are pretty important. They hold the front wheel on, so you don't want those to come loose or strip out or anything. The last thing to do on the front end of the bike is to hook up the brake lines, bleed them, and get that front disc brake kind of dialed in, and then we'll be done with the front end. Okay, brake lines are hooked back up. I've gone ahead and bled the front hydraulic system, so we're good to go there. To recap, I took apart the whole front end. I replaced the steering bearings. I rebuilt the forks. I cleaned and rebuilt the hydraulic brake system, and I replaced the tire with tube and rim strip. Now it's time to go on and finish up the rest of the bike. Be sure to follow along with us with our long haul project coming soon to an end. I'm William with Common Motor. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time.